Okay, we're moving on to the XML now. We're going to take a look at the XML. We're going to take a look at some of these lines in here, most of the lines in here, and show you what they're relating to. And then next episode, we'll actually get into making our own animal pen. Okay, so once you get this stuff down, too, it's going to be so much easier to understand what's going on. Okay, so we're going to start with store data. Now, some of these lines, like vertex buffer memory, I have no idea what this is. Okay, so work with me here. Some of these lines I've never tested out. I don't know what they do. Okay, other lines I completely know what to do. Okay, so let's start with name. You can name this whatever you want. It doesn't have to be an L10 it doesn't have to be this. Okay, this is just relating to the L10 file. Doesn't have to be that. It can be animal pen 1. Okay, image. This is the store image when you go into the store. This is the image right here. This is the file path to the image. You can use that if you want. Sometimes I create my own image. Sometimes I don't. This is the price. This is the function of you need this line. This is the function of the animal pen. This is basically saying what it is. This will be, animal pen pig. If we had a hog barn or something like that. Okay, this is the lifetime. I don't know. Wait, have I ever adjusted lifetime? I'm not sure if I ever adjusted that number. Daily upkeep I have. This is how much you're spending per day on daily upkeep. Sometimes you don't want this. You want this at 0. Sometimes not. I think it makes sense to have this at a certain number. This is the brand, Lizard. It almost always has to be Lizard because they'll be like, this is not a recognized brand. It'll be an error. If it was like a Brockbin or something like that, it'd be like, this is not a recognized brand. Like, I don't care. Okay, so yeah, that's the brand. Let's see here. The type is a placeable. Category, animal pens. This is where it'll all be located in the store. That's pretty much all I know for store data. Placeable type, husbandry. Yep. You can look in every different placeable and you can look at the placeable type in every one of them and see what it says. File name. This is the i3D we were looking at in the previous episode. Never have I ever messed with any of these lines. Just don't touch it. Clear area node. I'm not going to delete anything here. I'll show you my own XML. I'm not going to delete anything here, but I tend to, and because it's a base game, placeable, don't mess with base game files. But I tend to delete clear areas. I tend to delete leveling areas. I tend to delete foliage. Man, there's a lot in here. Yeah, those lines I tend to delete. I just don't want them in it'll look like this. Yeah, you don't need them in there. But what's important here is the nodes, okay? Pay attention to these numbers here. This is looking for the start node, width node, height node, okay? That's the same for manure and anything else in here that's important, okay? These nodes are relating to what the transform groups in the i3D, okay? Excuse me. So clear area node, if we go to clear area node, that's going to be at 0, 10. Okay, this is the index path right here. So the start node, it says, is at 0, 10, 0. Start 0, 10, 0. I'm going to guess, safe guess here, that the width node, 0, 10, 0, 0. Okay, that's going to be right here. 0, 10, 0, 0. And so on and so forth. That's the important part that you need to know. And that's why all of these are in the right order. If you change the ordering of these, you're going to be changing these numbers in the XML. And that's annoying. You don't want to do that. Okay, just keep them all in the same place. Okay, and if you don't need a line like leveling, or if you don't want to have to water them, delete the water line, So leveling, foliage, yeah, you'll probably need that. You'll probably need that for seasons. Trigger markers. This is the gate trigger, isn't it? No. Oh, these trigger markers. Okay, these are the markers that show up in game. I don't typically have this line in here. I'll delete that too. These are where, those little warning signs marking where the triggers are. Hence trigger markers. Hotspot name. This is what it's going to show up as a hotspot in the game. Yeah, cow barn, hideable, true. Yeah, that's easy. Animated objects. Here we go. If you're gonna do this, I don't think you should if you're map making, but if you're gonna bake the animated doors into the placeable, like most placeables, like a placeable shed will have lines like this. But if you're just gonna bake it into the map, like there's no reason to have this line in here, so you can just delete it. But the animated object save ID, it's just like, remember animated objects, it's a similar line right here. Okay, except this time it's going to be looking for the trigger node is going to be a little bit different. It's at 015, so it's all the way down here in the list. You know, typically when we do animated doors, like that one episode we did, we have it in a different order. Let's see, the gates, the parts are at 09100. Let's see here. 09, where's that at? Is that here? 0, yep, that'll be here, isn't it? And then, yeah, right here. 0910, yep, okay. There it is. And keep in mind, this doesn't have any user attributes. There's no user attributes like we did with animated objects. It's all through the XML now. Okay, which is, you know, it makes sense for a placeable to do that. It doesn't really make sense to have that as the map. It makes much more sense to have a gate in the map and then have it search in the animated objects XML for this save ID. So it makes sense to have user attributes when you're baking it into the map. Doesn't make sense when you have a placeable, right? Actually, it probably wouldn't make sense if you had a placeable, but it doesn't matter. So this is same, you know, this is where the sounds are located. This is the sound line for the animated object. We've done all of this, so this is nothing new. It's just where it is and where everything is located. That's important. The save ID, animated cows, has statistics false. I've never changed that. The nav mesh mode, this is important. This is at 08. It's right here, 08. Okay, very important. The character, this line is interesting. This line right here. This is how I change the types of cows that the placeable is using. So I have, on Lincoln Creek, I have cows with ear tags on them. This is where you change that. So I have a character file that's actually not data S, it's just ... and then I have it leading from the front of the folder to character, to cow animal husbandry, and that XML is pointing to a different model of cow. Okay. Then you'll have to change other things. We'll get to that point, but that for now, that's all you really need to know for that line. See, food. That's where the food is located. What's important for these is that it's not just like the location of the nodes, obviously, like just don't mess with anything. But what matters here is min Y and min max. Okay, so let's go look at the food here. It should be in here, right here. This should be food. They should label it differently. Cow stable plane, it should just be like food plane. That's what I label mine. You can label these things anything you want. I tend to label this one food plane. So this XML says that the minimum, when it's at its bottom, it's at 0.125. Okay, so that's the minimum Y translation. So that's what it looks like when it's empty, which makes sense, right? Now, what does it look like when it's topped off with food? It's full. It looks like that. Best way to test this line is to just have one cow in here, and you know, when you're testing your placeable or whatever, is just to have one cow in here and feed a full cart and see where it ends up. That's actually not the best. What am I talking about? The best way to test this is just to move this up and down, okay, and find, you know, where the best location is for the 0.413, let's say. That's how high I want it, you know. That's the best way to do it. You can also, if you just don't want to bother around with this moving up and down, you can just put this min Y at 0.4 and min max at 0.4, and it'll just stay at that height. It won't move at all. Okay? Same goes for the water. It's in the correct node, 02, O. You know, it's pointing to the trigger, I believe. Yeah, 020. Yeah, config node, exec fill root node 0, fill types water. You'd change this if you wanted. Change it to milk if you really wanted to. Undefined trailer. Okay. 021 is the fill plane. Easy. You could just look that up. 021. Yep. Same goes for everything else. And again, min, y, min, max. So food has a min, y, min, max. Water does. Liquid manure does. And the last one is straw. Anything that's rising and falling is going to have a min, besides manure, is going to have a min y, a min max, or a min y, max y. I've been saying it wrong this whole time. A min y, a max y. Min y, min max. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so straw, same thing. Except this is talking to 051 is talking to this right here. 051. It's not talking to these individual planes. It's actually talking to a transform group, right? Now, what bugs me is that this is talking to a transform group, right, with a bunch of planes within that transform group. But this one, if you change this, if you put the stupid food plane and set it up the same way, it throws an error. So it's, well, you can't do that. You can't. Well, you do it with it. Yeah. So you know what I mean? It's stupid. Milk. This is where the milk trigger is. This should be all pretty easy. You can delete if you don't like food spillage. You can just go ahead and delete this line right here. Okay. Best way to tell where lines start and end is just to click on these module lines. Okay. Sometimes I delete water. I'll just delete water. You know, don't want to deal with it. I'm pretty sure that messes with seasons, but you know, that is what it is. I think that's it. I think we made it through everything. And then down here, typically you have a seasons line. I'm going to show you here in a little bit when we're working on our own custom placeable. I'm going to show you that for 19 at least, there's a line that you have to put in for seasons if you've already built a seasons mask in the map, which is what we're going to do. There will be a line here for that, so you won't have to worry about that. Worry about putting in a mask in the placeable. Okay? All right. On to the next episode. We're going to actually make our own. I'll show you what it looks like, what my own looks like, and then I'll show you what I did. Okay? Bye.